Hi, Mr. Gopi and friends. I am Nicholas. There is Bryce Santo, Michael, and Albert, and those behind the camera. Today we're going to be exploring the new facility called Cup Plastic. Here is the address if you want to if you want to buy some Cup Plastic. So the first part we're going to go through is the mold or the filtration system first. So this is the molding part, and now Michael will start to explain about how this thing works.
So this is the very start of the plastic molding process. It makes the mold itself. This is very essential for all the machines to work effectively. If you want to be in the plastic molding industry, this is where the businessman or anyone should start. As such, of course, the mold needs to be maintained through this. The mold needs to be not flat. And how do we make it not flat? We make it not flat through this machine. This makes sure there are holes in this machine so that it can function properly in the machines we will show later.
So this machine is very special. As you can see, the green plastic over here. The green plastic is where it gets put into here. And this melts, the machine melts the plastic into, the temperature is around 200 Celsius, and it gets melted into this stuff that just got produced. The clicking sound is where the plastic gets molded into those shapes. So there's around 5 different machines, and these all machines produce different kind of stuff. As you can see, from this one, it produces a hanger. From that one, it produces a transparent spoon and fork. They're all plastic. And if we look to our left, we see that this produces this type of grids. The green grids, I don't know what they're made for. Okay, we're gonna go through this one. This one produces plastic spoons, black plastic spoons. So different materials has different kinds of colors. As you can see here, the granules are all different colors. Yeah, they all have different properties. Okay, so as you can see, this here is the cooling system of the entire factory. This cooling system is required because when the machines operate, they produce a lot of friction, which hence produces a lot of heat. And so this cooling system will keep the machines cool and operate properly.
So let's dig deeper on what is actually happening. First of all, the method used in the video is called thermoplastic injection molding, and the initial step to this method is to create the mold cavity. This is essential in the process as it determines the size and the shape of the object being formed. An example to this is the picture shown on the top left, which is the cavity used to create plastic spoons. After creating it, it should then be mounted onto the machine. Finally, thermoplastic pellets are loaded onto the hopper as shown below, and they may come in different colors depending on the customer's needs. So you may be wondering what is happening inside the machine. Well, to simplify, it has 3 basic processes: melting, injection, and finally solidification. The solid pellets are first melted into a viscous liquid with temperatures in between 200 degrees Celsius depending on the type of polymer used. The rotating screws, also known as twin screw extruders, create friction as they turn, generating the heat energy required. The liquid form will then be immediately injected onto the mold cavity by the injection screw, and high pressure is maintained by the rapid movement of the injection screw, and this is essential to ensure that the cavity is completely filled. After the cavity is filled, the fluid is solidified by cooling channels, finally forming the product. So So moving on, in addition to the injection method, there's actually another method known as thermoset molding, which uses cross-linking as its chemical reaction. This method, however, requires more resources as well as better technology in creating the product. There are various types of cross-linking, but we will focus on radiation cross-linking for now, as it is the most commonly used method. I will also not be thoroughly explaining, as it is not the method that we use in the industry that we visited. So firstly, the radiation emitted by the radiation sources would be absorbed by the polymers, causing a fission which breaks the covalent bonds between the polymer chains and forming a very reactive free radicals. The polymer chains will then join with other polymer chains to form a mixture, and this is called cross-linking. In summary, here are the main differences between the two methods shown. As you can see, the products formed by cross-linking methods are harder and stronger due to the chemical reaction based to a strong bond. They are also more resistant thermally and chemically. Due to their hardness, they lack flexibility, which is dominated by the injection method. One important feature that clearly distinguishes them is that cross-linking is an irreversible chemical event, which means that it cannot be remodeled and are not recyclable and reusable, which are opposite to the injection method. Cross-linking is mainly used to produce more complex polymers used in other items such as insulators, adhesives, or footwears, while injection method is used to make products that can be mass-produced such as bottle, toys, and plastic.
How big of the impact has plastic made, and in what area specifically was the impact?
Impact dari plastik itu banyak, termasuk pesawat terbang aja impactnya besar sekali karena lebih dari 50% isi dari bak pesawat terbang itu plastik. Jadi kita nggak bisa terlalu banyak metal atau besi ke dalam pesawat karena penumpang akan beratnya pesawat itu jadinya plastik itu ada sangat juga di dalam industri seperti obat-obatan. Plastik adalah salah satu produk yang mendorong higienis karena produknya adalah baru produksi dengan bahan polimer, jadi belum terkontaminasi dari aman.
So next, what are the skills and experiences required to be in such an industry?
Skillnya banyak sih. Pertama mesti ngenalin mesin, terus ngenalin mobil, terus ngenalin bahan. Nah, 3 komponen ini adalah 3 untuk berjalannya sebuah perusahaan injection atau plastik. Ya, mengenali mesin itu berarti mengenali bakal berapa kapasitas mesin yang dapat produksi dalam sehari atau barang apa aja yang bisa diproduksi. Yang kedua adalah molding, yaitu adalah jenis-jenis plastik yang mana mesinnya tinggi dari bahannya yang cocok dengan moldingnya. Jadi nggak sembarangan biji plastik bisa dipakai ke dalam molding. Dan biji plastik itu juga tergantung dari fungsi produk. Jadi produknya mau gunanya untuk apa, menggunakan jenis plastik.
So how do you control the quality of your product?
Kualitas produk kontrolnya melalui adalah sumber daya manusianya. Jadi kita mesti latih manusianya atau yang kerja itu untuk paham dulu dengan plastik ini. Dan sistemnya mulai dari mesin, dari molding, dan dari bahan juga. Semua connectionnya sama.
Could you explain the chemical processes for obtaining the plastic?
Plastik itu aslinya kan datangnya dari minyak bumi. Minyak bumi yang biasanya negara-negara suka beli dari Saudi Arabia. Itu namanya crude oil. Jadi minyak bumi ini akan masuk ke dalam reaktor. Hal pertama yang mereka akan lakukan, mereka bakar dulu minyak bumi. Dan temperatur paling rendah itu di angka 25 derajat sampai 30 derajat. Itu akan penguapan terjadi. Penguapan terjadi itu yang diambil adalah uapnya menjadi bensin, difiltrasi. Nah, setelah penguapan selesai berterus-terusan dengan temperatur yang naik terus-terusan, itu akan menyisakan endapan warna hitam, dan endapan itu kita pakai untuk bikin aspal, untuk bikin plastik. Thank you.
Alright, we're heading home now. That concludes our trip to Topkop Plastic.
Thank you, Mr. Gopi.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, and for the guy.
Close it. Just